So welcome to our presentation. After 4 months of thinking and working on how to connect business and educational sector in a meaningful and useful way, we are more than pleased and excited today to present us our final solution, Little Bridge. We are Camille, Marta and Chris, and we connect fresh and young talent to the social business world. What social business world means to us, I will explain you in a second, but first let me give you a short introduction about the main idea behind Little Bridge. We aim to match the needs and the values of the social business world to motivated students, because we believe that this will create a pool of opportunities for projects and collaboration between students and these organizations. Empowered students, we believe, will bring not only the academic knowledge and expertise, but also freshness, new perspectives, and dynamism to organizations where all this is needed and appreciated. Students will gain useful and meaningful experiences, and the results will be projects achieving higher social impacts and students becoming protagonists of impact. Who are the main actors? Young and fresh talent, what means for us students which are motivated and willing and interested in the social business world and committed to their values. Social business world means for us the community of companies and organizations which are aiming to add value to society and increase social impact of specific projects. Therefore, we distinguish two categories. Social enterprises and meaningful startups, companies which are financially sustaining while creating a positive impact in the society. On the other hand, foundations and NGOs, here's the focus on small and local foundations. They are not financially sustaining, but also improve social standards. And in the middle are we, Little Bridge, looking for the projects and connect students and the social business world. And what exactly we are aiming to achieve, Marta is going to tell you.
So we want to give sense. We want to give students the opportunity to have a meaningful impact while they are gaining practical experiences. We want also to give to fill gaps between the companies and the students, because we want to bring we want to match the social business work needs with the students' talent. And we also want to push the interest by, we want to increase the awareness of the social business world and therefore have an impact in the whole society. And now we are going to tell you how we came to the conclusion of these three main objectives. We made a research focused on the satisfaction of the students with the practical approach of their degrees, and also with the incentives, motivations, and willingness that they have to work with these companies. So we divide our research in three main parts. The first step, it was a literature review. The second step, it was a survey. And in order to complement this survey, we proceed to make face-to-face meeting with almost 20 students. So we were able to reach 103 students with our survey. 60% of them were Spanish students, and the other 40% were international students studying in Europe. So what we found out? We found out that 70% of the Spanish students are not having work experience related to their degrees during their studies. And also, meanwhile, 90% of the European students are having this work experience. So even though Spanish students, they think that they are enough capable to work with these companies, and even more, they have a really high willingness in order to work with these companies. And although it's not gonna mean extra credits in their degrees. And it's also so interesting that they are willing to work with SMEs much more than with big companies, because they think that they will have a higher impact in these companies. Last but not least, when we talk with them about the incentives that they will have in order to work with these companies, the main things that came to their minds was gaining useful experience, or creating a network of contacts, and financial compensation is not the most important for them. So in conclusion, students are not having work experience, they have a really high willingness, and the financial compensation is not the most important thing for them. So they just want to feel useful. And that's why we, Little Bridge, we want to give sense to these students.
Okay, so after what Marta mentioned, so she mentioned that students actually are capable of working with companies and they really want to feel useful. So why not putting them somewhere where they are really needed and where they can they have the potential to fill some gaps. So, sorry. So, after a meeting with many companies, actually we did like a deep literature review, and then we met with like more than 20 companies, and we were able together to identify many gaps that these companies lack, that these companies have actually. So, and where students have a real potential to work on. So, the first gap is that actually we realized that these companies are strongly project-based. So they have the strategic planning, they know how to do the project. However, in what they struggle is the implementation. So the implementation doesn't match with their strategy. And why is that? First of all, the lack of workforce. They have the skilled people, they have the skilled employees, but they don't have enough workforce in order to implement successfully this project. Moreover, they don't have the time nor the knowledge to manage the Spanish bureaucracy, because we did a study in Spain, and it's true because normally most of these social enterprise, it's really difficult for them. Since they are project-based, they need to hire temporary students and for temporary employees, but for them, with all the contracting and all the paperwork that in Spain they need, it's really difficult for them to hire them. So sometimes they even forget about doing some project because of these issues. Moreover, it's really difficult for them to recruit some people, because we realize that they are doing more time-consuming ways to recruit and hire some employees, because while they are entering these job platforms, they don't have a special network for the social business world. So they have a net, maybe it's for the business or for engineers, it's much useful, but for the social business world, it's really complicated for them to find in these job platforms the right people. And of course, the lack of financial resources, which is related to all of them. Because of their lack of financial resources, they are not able to implement successfully their project. They are not able to hire long-term employees, and which is really problematic for them.
So as we have heard from Marta and Camille, we want to build capacity and shape students' employability skills by satisfying and matching them to the gaps and the needs in the social business world. All this will push the interest of the social business world. It will create a network which is strongly needed in order to increase the awareness of the importance and the potential of social business for our society. What exactly Little Bridge contributes to it, the added value of our idea, Camille is going to explain to you.
Okay, so we believe that the social business world needs to find new ways and more innovative ways to attract its collaborators. So this is what we offer. This is Little Bridge. This is our service. What we do is that we deliver the talented people or students in the moment of need, while reducing the barriers of cost, of time, and of paperwork for Spanish enterprises and organizations. So students will have a meaningful and a wonderful experience, because they will have the opportunity to really impact society or to really impact the community. Moreover, they will bring flexibility, freshness to these companies, which most of the time they lack. And since it's a project-based, so students will direct have the opportunity to impact. Moreover, it's an inclusive approach, because we don't only include the social business world, but we also include the students, and we include also the society. After talking with these companies, so we talked with more than 20 companies, we were able to identify a really important task where the students are really needed. However, I'm not saying that they are only needed, but they are also better in this task than older people. So we know that with this globalization and with the students are now exposed to a whole world, they have language skills. So they could work with language with tasks related to language. Research and development, students are trained for that during their degrees, so why not using them to impact something or to work in a real case study project? IT skill, have you ever heard of the digital natives? Well, it's us, it's the young people themselves, so why not working with technology? Like, have you ever seen a student that doesn't know how to use technology? Well, I don't think so, so why not really working in an impact with these skills? Communication, social media, of course, we spend most of our time on social media, and we know the power and we know how to reach people, so why not working in communication, marketing, social media, but while doing something useful and something meaningful. Field work, of course, with their willingness and their motivation, freshness, they would love to work in the field. And of course, creative as they are, and young and innovative, designers, we could directly work with designers, why not?
So this was the idea behind Little Bridge. So how we're gonna make it happen, it's about engagement. When we started mapping our stakeholders, we realized that social business world and students are not the only stakeholders we have, but also society, as we are social-oriented business. Of course, the society will have a high interest in our project. And then we identified universities as one of our main stakeholders. Why universities are so important? As we have heard, one of the main barriers for the social business world is to contract people or students for temporary work because of the Spanish paperwork. Therefore, we want to overtake the service and set up agreements for the social business world with university and so facilitate the contracting and matching process. Furthermore, we want to deeply interact with the career centers of universities and offer our projects to the universities and to their students. Students, we need to interact with students not only on social media but also on campus. We have to interact with them, we have to participate in students' events, job fairs, but also interact with students' clubs and organizations and make students to ambassadors and evangelists of Little Bridge and spread our brand among other students. But engagement with university and students is not the only strategy we have. Of course, we have to focus on the social business world. Therefore, we have already started to create our own business network, which Marta gonna explain you.
So we have already implemented a lot of engaging strategies in order to build up our own business network. Here, you can find some of the companies which we are in contact. We are in contact with them by emails. We already had a lot of interviews with most of them. And we want to still in contact with them. We want to still engage with them. So we are planning also to assist to some events, for example, in the Impact Hub. And we already know that there are a lot of projects out there waiting for us, Little Bridge, and waiting for the students.
Of course, we have the project out there, but after realizing the project, we need to measure them because we need to measure our performance, how Little Bridge is doing. So according to the SMART criteria, we have developed 5 different KPIs. So the first one is related to the project. So we want to measure how many people the project have reached. And with this number, we will be able to maybe put the most valuable project, and like this we might attract the investment and we might show students how many people actually they were able to impact. The second KPI is more for Little Bridge. It will help us. It will measure the number of students that contacted Little Bridge. In this way, we will know if our communication strategy is good and how many students we have been able to reach. The third one is the number of projects offered by the social business world. So in this way, we will be able to measure if really the companies are engaging, if they believe in us, and if they trust Little Bridge. The fourth KPI is the number of successful matching. This one will measure our service performance, since our service is to match the students to the businesses. And in this way, we will be able to know if our performance is well and if our strategy is good. So the fifth KPI is the number of reuse of Little Bridge by the companies and by the students. So in this way, we will be able to know if they are really satisfied with the service and if they are really happy with it.
So last but not least, as we aim to be a social startup, we need to be financially sustainable. Therefore, we have created different investment and revenue strategies. First of all, funding and attracting investment. The idea is to pitch our idea at big or large companies and financial institutions. We have already contacted a big consultancy in Spain, Auren, and they offered us a second meeting to talk about investment opportunities after the final presentation. Secondly, we have found this program of the Bank Santander, where the Bank Santander pays the salaries of interns for Spanish SMEs. This program unfortunately doesn't include NGOs and foundations, so we want to identify the potential of implementing a little bridge into this program of the Bank Santander. Secondly, universities. Our long-term goal in this regard is to offer but also to sell our projects to universities, to the career centers, and match them with the projects. Moreover, the idea came up to implement long-term projects into specific academic programs. We think that we have several projects we think which could fit in this master, for example. But we also want to create revenue strategies in the social business world. And Camille?
So once Little Bridge will start to grow, and we were going to have enough users, so enough companies and enough students, we want to create a platform. So with this platform, companies and students will be able to interact in an easier way and in a direct way. But we are thinking that every time a company wants to register, they will have to pay a fee. So this will be one of our revenues. And also matching fee, because our service is to match, so they will have to pay every time we have a successful matching.
So we are Little Bridge, and we think in projects. So we want to grow step by step, project by project. So we think that it's time to start off, no? So we already have our potential pilot project. It's with Fundación Sanders. It's a foundation working here in Madrid, concretely located in the Impact Hub, and they are planning to launch a new startup against social exclusion in children in September. So we were talking with them in one meeting, and they explained us that this startup will be about a big network where children suffering bullying in one part of the world can connect with other children facing the same challenges. So, and the main thing here is that they want to live apart the adults. So they want students leading the project. And why students? Students are young, students are closer to these children. A student can seem like this cool guy that children always like, or like the old brother or like the old sister. So the children will feel more comfortable with the children will feel more comfortable with the students. And why is interesting for us, for Little Bridge? Because here a lot of students with completely different backgrounds can fit. Like they will need psychologists, they will need pedagogists, they will need students with communication skills, they will need designers. So this is perfect for us, and they really want the students now. So, and they want to start soon. So in order to think like the next steps that we need to take in order to be real, we met Pablo, that is the CEO of Bridge for Billions. What is Bridge for Billions? Bridge for Billions is a startup that they are offering a service. The service consists in a software that is helping new entrepreneurs and new startups to build up their own business plan. So they are following the new startups in the whole process, and they are also giving them the possibility to have a mentor during the whole process, and this mentor will give the new entrepreneurs and the new startups advice. When these two steps are finished, they are completely ready to receive the investment. So for us, it's so interesting because we went to talk with Pablo. He told us that he thinks that our idea is really good, and as a casualty, they are currently making an agreement with the EOI. Because the EOI wants to implement this software for future entrepreneurs. So they told us that for them will be a pleasure if us, Little Bridge, will be the first EOI project implementing this software. So then it will help us to pass from our current website to our future platform. That is one of our goals. Now, just in case you haven't been listening to us, we have summed up all our idea in a really nice video that we really hope you like it. Why is that this?
The lack of track collaboration makes it important. We really want to gain some useful advice. Because it's not about the importance of it. It's better job chances in the future. Some days later, we went on. She's so interested. Talking to her, we realized she's over too. This is small. We can photos of her. But we don't have enough time. giving students the opportunity with a meaningful impact, building awareness of students' creating apps, facilitate the matching of the needs of social business work and students have. Pushing actions, increase the awareness of the importance of social businesses of our society. So, do you remember Martin and Louis? We have met on the bridge, and now we are working together. So I'm asking you, what are you waiting for? Come and meet us. Let's create a higher social impact together.
The good thing is, all this is not a project, it's real. We already on Facebook. So the good thing is, all this is real. It's not just a project. We're already on Facebook and on YouTube, and we have created our own webpage. So check it out and contact us, or ask your questions now. Thank you very much. Presentation. Sorry for the sound. Yes. So now it's time for questions, and we're really pleased to answer all of them.
So I will start here. Congratulations, well done, great job, really brilliant. And I always stress how important it is for any project to really do a really deep research in the key players you want to involve. And the fact you did the research on surveys, individual interviews, really get to know people, really going deep, really allow you to really understand the market you want to go into. And that to me is a fundamental part, which you covered beautifully. Now I have a couple of practical questions. The one, for example, is how you can match. So what is your thinking about how you match the company with the students? And the second one is the rewards. So are there some letter of recommendation that the company sends, LinkedIn? Have you thought about that kind of area as well?
Matching, we start a project, another project, of course, at the beginning. We will have to contact students on campus on face-to-face meetings and use the contacts we have and match them directly with our service to the social business world or the projects. In the long term, we want to implement a platform which will match the students to the companies more independently and quickly. And therefore, we have thought about two different selection functions. The matching functions will match the students to the project description according to keywords. In a second step, which will be optional, students will be able, companies will be able to measure upfront the motivation of students for the project, so they can ask 3 or 4 short multiple choice questions to figure out the motivation of the students for the project. Because we think, especially in the social business world, it's not only about skills, you also really have to be motivated and committed to the projects. Yes. That's good. That's it. That's optional. If the company doesn't want, it also takes time, but it's optional. And the first step is according on keywords, which will be in the profile of the students, similar to LinkedIn. And in the second part, then companies will be able to endorse the keywords of the students in order to increase in future the matching efficiency. Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But of course, like recommendation letters from the companies will be given for the students, because when we did the survey, we saw that one of the most important incentives for the student are the recommendation letters, or the CV, and also like gaining new perspective and new experience. So for us, it's not like, of course, companies will pay them, because also when we interviewed companies, they told us we want to pay the students, because we want the students to stay committed and we want to be committed and like really engaging with them. So of course we're going to pay them, but for us it's not the main thing. And also on this platform, we are thinking of doing like a rating process, like for the companies and for the students. And also endorsement, like in LinkedIn. So you endorse the skills of the students using the keywords.
Thank you.
Can I ask? Yes. I'm interested to know about your survey and how you decided on the sample. I'd like to know what the other countries were apart from Spain, and whether the students came from particular academic disciplines. Were they business students? Were they from other academic disciplines?
Okay, in order to focus to the what kind of students with what kind of background, we were focusing in completely different backgrounds because we think that any kind of students will fit here. Because companies, as Camille said in the slide with the potential tasks that they will do, here, like any kind of students with different backgrounds will be doing this, so we focus on different backgrounds. And about the Spanish students, we wanted to focus in Spain because we are going to we are going to make our research here, but we wanted also to go to Europe, mainly in France and Europe, to France and Austria, to know what the difference. And then it came the thing about like 90% of the students in France or in Austria are having, for example, work experience, while here are not having. So just to see the contrast and to know, like, but it's 60% here in Spain because we wanted to focus here in Spain because we wanted to develop our project here because here is also, we think that is needed, and the social business world and the social enterprises are emerging now here in Spain, and that's why we...
And I think we should mention that the survey are trends, the results are not so significant, and to be honest, the European average of France and Austria, the age was a bit higher, but it's still, in France and in Austria, for example, where we did the survey, it's more normal to work during the summer and gain experience related to your studies, while in Spain, it's not so common. 90% of not having, 70% of not having relevant work experience to 90% in Austria and France, for example, having it. With these numbers, we know we have to be dangerous. 103 surveys are not so significant, but the trend you can easily see, we think. And also the literature review told us, we have realized that students really lack gaining work experience because of the lack of interaction between universities, business companies in general, the whole business sector, and students themselves. Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
I really like your project, the approach, the presentation of the three of you. I think you're considering a really important gap. We need this freshness. Students and young people should have a louder voice in our society, especially in Spain, you're considering Spain. So it's a key point. I think it's really nice what you're proposing. And I have one doubt. How are you thinking you will engage the students? Why a student will put their profile or the way you will do the process in your platform?
And first of all, engagement, and after the survey, we have talked with roughly 20-25 students. And what we have realized is they had troubles to explaining what corporate responsibility means to them and what their understanding of social business world. When we explained them what social business world is and the impact they have, they got really excited and motivated and asked more questions and got really deep into it. Of course, the communication strategy, the interaction with students is really important, and we have to focus here because we have found out it's easier to find the projects and the participating companies, and the students, especially in Spain, to get the commitment, it's not so easy because you always have a specific laziness among Spanish students. But since we want to, that's why we want to start project by project, because to find a small group of students and then grow project by project. This is also why we don't have the platform now, because it will be too big. You need to have a certain size, a certain pool of students, certain projects to make the platform work efficiently. But the engagement with students is to go to the campus, talk with them, find ambassadors, and to spread the Little Bridge brand among the campus.
And also it's important because in universities normally they have a lot of clubs, and most of the time they don't really know with who to work and what to do. So we're thinking also to engage with them, like a lot to talk with the clubs, for example, the environmental clubs, or I don't know, marketing club and things like this, and really work with them and offer them some projects. So, but now we're thinking on starting with our own network in Spain. So just as a pilot project, and later on, and we know students talk a lot, so probably the communication strategy will be like mouth to mouth. I don't know how to explain it. So.
Your strategy, the engagement, and the communication. Maybe you
Yes.
should do a TED talk. It's interesting. And concerning CSR and social business, I think the students don't know what it is, and the professionals of this field, they don't know as well. So I would like the students, the young generation, to define what it is, because if we're still thinking that sustainability is what we are doing now, we are not. It's clear that we are not going in a positive way. So it's up to you.
Yes, and also, for example, here in Spain, all the changes that we are having are starting from the university, are starting with the young people. So if we are doing this with the social business world that is impacting society in a really nice, in a really positive way, the students that are like the head of the revolution, or are the heads of these changes, will be involved immediately, because and also it's related to their studies. It's like they are changing something that we want to change, and they are doing something useful for their studies and for their future. So we think that it's so important to start there, because they will be involved.
And also, with the respect to your question about corporate responsibility, we have realized it doesn't make so much sense to give students definition of corporate responsibility. And one of the initial concerns was you have to show them, you have to put them in practice, and that was, we wanted to align the perception of corporate responsibility of the education in the business sector, and by placing the students in the social business world in a sector where these values are really implemented into corporate strategies, I think in the long term, after working on these projects, and students after their degree, they go in which direction ever they go, they will have internalized these values, this way of doing business, and spread them and share them among their future business environment, not only in the social business world, but in all the companies that will work in the future. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Congratulations for all your work. Just have one comment and a question related to the comment. Part of my family live in Berlin, in Germany, and I know my nephew, for example, he's just 15 years old, and he's attending now he's doing some practices in some companies there. Just that, and another thing, my kids, they are visiting the French school in Madrid. They're now too little, but I know that also students that are just 14, 15, they are already doing some internships in Spanish companies. So that's the comment, and the question is, what is your age range that you're considering, just for students that are in university or business schools, or could you be also considering like younger people? What is your focus or your target group?
At the beginning, we focused just in university students, and because of the experience, not the experience but the knowledge, mainly focusing in the 3rd and the 4th year of university. But then we realized that it can apply to all the courses of the university students, but also, for example, now for us in this master, for example, having 1 week collaboration with one company of this will be really meaningful for us. So it can apply to any kind of students, and we think that it's also since you start the university, when you start specializing in something that you like, because then you can apply what you are learning and what you are doing, and because you choose your degree because you really like it, to create an impact.
So not before.
Not, and we yes, we want to.
The thing is that we were not thinking of targeting the children before that, because the thing is that maybe it might be not risky, but maybe the company might not be, because at the end of the day they trust in students, so maybe they won't. It's not that they don't trust them, but maybe the work that they are asking for, children that are in high school can do it. Like students maybe can do it, for example, design or research market or some task like this. So we were not thinking of targeting students that are in high schools.
And also, I don't know, but we have to always consider Spanish bureaucracy and paperwork. To hiring children below 18, I don't know about these issues. We know that contracting also students is really important. So at least the first step must be to get these agreements with universities and focus on students. we just do believe that younger kids also will be able to have an impact. There's no doubt. And in terms of students, we want to include all the students, but we also have to satisfy the needs of the social business world. And one of the feedback was that they don't demand so much like students in the first or second year, because they want to have like students with already like a certain level of academic knowledge, and which are more committed, because in third, fourth year, you more start thinking about the future, about your career. That's what the feedback of the social business world. But of course, I mean, also students in the first year can be super useful. Therefore, we have the two selection functions of matching of keywords and the motivation. And in the end, it's up to the social business world, to the company, to the organization, to choose the students. And with respect to your family in Berlin is similar to Austria. You start with 15, gaining work experience. I also start with 15. It's normal to work through the summer. And in Spain, I'm pretty surprised that already young people have gaining so much experience. I think there are not so many, but especially when you're in the French school, you probably speak 3 languages. That could be also an asset for these companies in an early stage, because the older generation don't have these languages. This is also one potential we've identified. And yes.
That is especially done because they are trying to help the students to decide what to study at university, which kind of degree to choose, because you're completely lost when you're 15 or 16 or even 18. Exactly. So you are just trying to decide, I think I like this, okay. Some people have very clear mind about what to study, maybe you're wrong, or maybe you change your minds, I don't know, 10 years after. But I think that kind of projects are done just to help the students decide what to study.
And also with this, university students will be able also to decide and rethink what they want to do after their degree, because they will have the opportunity to collaborate with many kind of projects, and therefore they will be able to choose, like, I want to be into this specific path. And about the Berlin and Germany, we had the feedback of one company. She's working between Spain and Germany, and she told us that, for example, she's externalizing, like outsourcing some kind of jobs. And in Germany, she told us, like, I just can make a bill, put the ID of the person, and internalize it as a cost of my company. Here in Spain, I cannot do that. So for them, it's also like, maybe in this kind of countries, it's also easier for them to do these kind of things. And here in Spain, the small companies are facing these kind of problems, and maybe they just want one person for 1 day or 2 days, and they're not able to do that.
And hopefully, while doing this, it's going to push. Hopefully, while doing this, it's going to push the interest of the student to work in this field. Because since they will impact and they will have an impact, so hopefully it's gonna, later on they're gonna work in this field.
Okay.
We hope so. This is one of our long-term goals.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Yes, I only want to say you good news. From today, you can enroll your social projects, and that's something also for you to be benefit of the European coordinating space at EOI.
Perfect.